Hi! So I tend to read a lot of books that I just forget to review, and then months go by and I still haven't reviewed them, and then I feel like it gets too far along. I don't know what I'm saying. I kind of find myself reading a book and then weeks or even a couple of months go past and I still haven't reviewed it. I feel like writing a review for a blog post takes a lot of energy, and a lot of the time I just don't even know what I'm writing, especially if I like a book a lot. I just kind of struggle to find the words to type. Like, it's so much easier to speak my thoughts about something. So I think for that reason, I might start moving a lot of my, like I might start doing a lot of my book reviews on here instead of on my blog. And then on my blog, I might just kind of like still do a blog post and attach the video to it, so I can add like some affiliate links and stuff. And then that way I can also include it in my review index on my blog. If you're interested in seeing which book reviews I've written, you can go to wonderfullybookish.co.uk/index here. So today I thought I would review a few books that I should have reviewed ages ago and just didn't, because I'm going to find it so much easier to say my thoughts, like to speak my thoughts about them rather than try and write them down. I'm going to be reviewing, hang on, I have them next to me, Summerbird Blue by Akemi Bowman, The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken, and Pages & Co, the first Pages & Co by Anna James. So I'll start with Pages & Co, considering it's just the one in my hand. This was one, it's more middle grade than young adult, and I don't read a lot of middle grade, but it was recommended to me by quite a few friends, and I also saw it everywhere, like literally everywhere, on social media and on people's blogs and everything, with people saying how much they loved it. So I thought this was one that I definitely had to read, and I'm so glad I did because I adored this. The second book comes out, I think, this year. I've seen proofs kind of being sent out into the world for the second book, and I'm so excited to read it because I loved this. Let me read you the blurb. Since her mother's disappearance, Tilly has found comfort in stories at Pages & Co, her grandparents' bookshop. But when her favourite characters, Anne of Green Gables and Alice from Wonderland, appear in the shop, Tilly's adventures become very real. Not only can she follow Anne and Alice into their thrilling worlds, but she discovers she can book wander into any story she chooses. Tilly's new ability could even help her solve the mystery of what happened to her mother all those years ago, but danger may be lurking on the very next page. It was so cool. Like, I love books that are just so imaginative and they kind of mix reality with, almost like fairy tales or stories, which is funny. I don't read a lot of magical retellings or fairy tale retellings. I don't read a lot of those, so maybe I should, considering I enjoyed this so much. But I just loved the kind of mix of reality and fiction, and it was just so cool to see how these characters like Anne and Alice, how they kind of react to our human world, and then how Tilly kind of goes exploring their worlds. So like Green Gables and Wonderland. Really cool to see how like some of the other characters pop up and how what she thinks of these characters that are in the books that we all loved as children. It was so cool. It's like a concept that I haven't read before, and then when it gets to the point where she can actually start to wander into other books too, there's so many cool bits where she steps inside other books, and then there's like a villain introduced and it gets really exciting. It's so cool. So if you usually read like older books, like young adult or above, don't be put off by the fact that it's for like a slightly younger audience, because I never really read stuff that's younger than like kind of young adult level, and I adored this. Like, it was one of my favourite books I think I read maybe last year. I can't remember when I read it exactly, but yeah, I loved it. It was so good. And this cover is just amazing too. Like, how cool is this? And if you look under the dust jacket, really cool. I love it. So I love a cool naked hardback. So yeah, I definitely recommend this. I loved it. So next is The Darkest Minds by Alexandra Bracken. This is another one I saw everywhere. Mostly kind of after I bought it rather than before. Like with Pages & Co, I bought it because I saw it everywhere with people talking about it. But with this, I feel like I've only seen it, like I only saw it explode after I bought this. I got it at Yelk, I think the first year I was there, because the film adaptation of this was coming out and they were giving away, not giving away, but they were like selling these kind of movie editions of the book, and it has a signed book plate in the front, and then it's got like some pictures and stuff from the film on the inside. And I really enjoyed this. I know it has so many mixed reviews. I haven't seen the film yet, but I know people were saying the film was kind of rubbish. But this, yeah, I kind of saw a lot of mixed reviews about this, but I really liked it. Like, I enjoyed it a lot. The ending is insane. Like, the twist at the end just is devastating. I know this is like the first in a series, and I own the second one in the series, but I don't own the rest. So I am definitely going to have to read the second book in this series soon to find out what happens after the crazy cliffhanger at the end of this. So this is a dystopian, and I know dystopian books have kind of gone a little bit out of fashion now. Like when The Hunger Games was out, there was a massive explosion of dystopian books, like young adult dystopian, and it was kind of huge for a while, like everyone was obsessed with it. But I feel like as a genre, dystopian has kind of died out a little bit now. I'm not sure when this was released. When was this first book released? 2012. So I think this was released at a good time. It was like right in the middle of the whole dystopian era. Yeah, right now I feel like dystopian has kind of died a little bit, which is sad because I love it. Like I love a good dystopian book. But yeah, so right now I'm not really seeing that many people talk about these books, but for a while I saw them everywhere. But I really enjoyed it. This was kind of like, it has some typical dystopian things, like with teens getting powers and rebelling against society and stuff. It's like all the typical dystopian things, but I just thought it was a bit different to a lot of other dystopian books, and I really liked it. I've just realised I didn't read the blurb of this. In case you're not sure what this is, here's the blurb. A mysterious disease has killed most of America's children. Ruby might have survived, but she and the others have emerged with something far worse than a virus, frightening abilities they cannot control. Pressured by the government, Ruby's parents sent her to Thurmond. I don't know how you say that. I was saying it like Thurmond, but a brutal state rehabilitation camp where she has learned to suppress her new power. But what if mastering it is a whole generation's only chance for survival? So, you know, it's all to do with like survival and stuff, and like teens being the centre of survival. So yeah, it was good. It wasn't like my favourite book, but I enjoyed it. I don't think I had that many complaints. Again, I read it a while back, so I might be forgetting some things now. Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was alright. Read it if you want. Like, it's not one that I'm gonna press you to go and read, but it was alright. And then finally, we have Summerbird Blue by Akemi Bowman, which, compared to the last one, definitely one that I feel like I want to pressure everyone to go and get, because so good. Akemi Bowman is one of my favourite authors. She wrote Starfish, which I just adored, and I was so excited to get this sent from the publisher. And I just love it so much. I got this one's signed too. I think all of these are. Pages & Co is signed too, I forgot to show you that. But I love this so much. It's sad and happy and joyful and hopeful and everything. Yeah, I loved it. So here's the blurb for this one. Rumi Seto spends a lot of time worrying. What to eat, where to go, who to love. But one thing she's sure of, she wants to spend her life writing music with her younger sister, Leah. Then Leah dies in a car accident and Rumi is sent to live with her aunt in Hawaii. Now miles from home, Rumi struggles to navigate the loss of her sister, feeling abandoned by her mother and the aching absence of music. With the help of the boys next door, teenage surfer Kai, who doesn't take anything too seriously, and old George Watanabe, who succumbed to grief years ago, Rumi seeks her way back to music to write the song she and Leah never had the chance to finish. With unflinching honesty, Summerbird Blue explores big truths about unsurmountable grief, unconditional love, and how to forgive even when it feels impossible. So, Akemi Bowman is so good at writing about topics like grief and kind of like unconventional parental relationships really well. She writes about them with kind of hope, but she doesn't sugarcoat things. Like there are no themes that are just completely glossed over and sugarcoated. She writes about the truth, like she writes them really truthfully, but it's kind of like, yeah, it's just great to read. I feel like you just have to read her books to kind of get what I mean. But the thing that I especially loved about this book and that I identified with a heck of a lot is Rumi and her struggle with her sexuality and whether she's asexual, and she kind of worries that her sister Leah and all of her friends have always talked about kind of fancying boys, and she feels a little bit left out because she has just kind of been like, I don't see people that way. Like, as hard as I try, I don't see how people can think that. And it kind of explores how she comes to terms with the fact that she could be asexual, which really is needed in young adult books. I don't know any young adult books, I mean, I can think of like maybe a small handful of books that deal with asexuality, and it's just a topic that I feel like really needs to be explored, because it's something that teenagers probably are going through quite a bit. Like they're probably thinking about relationships and stuff a lot, and if a teenager kind of worries that they're not feeling these things that their friends are, reading something like this could help them kind of realise that it's okay. Like, it's not a weird thing to not be kind of love obsessed and like obsessed with trying to find relationships and things. If you're not that kind of person, then books like this are needed to kind of show you that that's fine and you're not weird. Like, it's completely normal. So I love this so much. As I expected, like, I not to put any pressure on Akemi or anything, but I kind of always expect I'm gonna love her books, and I always do. So yeah, her next book, called Harley in the Sky, which is circus based, is coming out very soon. I will put a couple of links to that in the description, just because I am so excited for that book. I'm part of the street team for that. So I've been promoting it a bit on social media and on my blog and stuff. I am so excited to read that. I will be reading it very soon because I have a proof copy. So yeah, I'm so excited about that. But yeah, Summerbird Blue and Starfish, her other book too, are on my list of books that I feel like you really need to get, because they're just so good. Everyone needs to read them. So, hooray! I finally got some book reviews out the way that have been on my list for literally months. Like, Summerbird Blue hasn't been on my list for that long because I only read it a couple of months ago, but the the other two have been on there for flipping ages, especially Darkest Minds. Oh my god, don't even know how long it's been on my list. So, I finally reviewed them, hooray! Let me know what you thought of these books. Have you read them? If not, then let me know if you've now added them to your list, or if you have read them, tell me what you thought of them, because I'd love to know. I really love talking about books. I think a little bit like book reviews, I find it so much easier to describe them with words rather than trying to write them as a blog post. So I might do a lot more book reviews on this channel and move them away from my blog a little bit, because certain books I have a lot to write about, so writing my thoughts down works a lot better. But I've got a lot of books that I just loved, or I just don't really have loads to say about them, that I think is easier just to turn on the camera and do a quick video about them. So yeah, I think I'm just going to do a lot more book reviews rather than putting them on my blog so much. So let me know what you think. Is that a good idea? Would you watch book reviews or not? Or should I just try and carry on writing them on my blog? Yeah, let me know. And I will see you soon. Bye!